Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. As most of you have probably heard, there has been some changes about the reopening of school yet again. And so I just wanted to connect with our families just to kind of, I know some of you saw it on the news, but just to kind of hear from us. So school was slated to begin our blended learning on this Monday, the 21st. The chancellor and the mayor were on yesterday and indicated that they have pushed back the in-person blended option to the 29th of September. However, this coming Monday, which is the 21st, 3K and pre-K will be coming in to the ones that opted to in-person learning will be, their cohort will be coming in, which is cohort A, starting on the 21st, will be coming in for in-person learning for the students who opted for in-person learning. All other grades will begin school in remote learning. So in other words, every child is going to be in school that day. Everyone will be remote except for 3K and pre-K students who opted for blended learning, which means they're in some days. Ms. Heredia.
Buenas tardes. Muchas gracias por estar en la reunión con nosotros. Como muchos de ustedes han oído ya en las noticias, este lunes, el 21, empezarán las clases para los niños que escogieron que quieren venir a la escuela. Empezarán las clases para el grupo A, nada más. Y nada más va a ser para los niños de 3K y de pre-kindergarten. Todos los otros grados empezarán las clases el día 28 de septiembre, que viene siendo el siguiente martes. Pero este lunes empiezan nada más los niños de 3K y de pre-kinder. Los demás grados van a empezar el 28.
Thank you. So I'm sharing my screen because I want to go to the calendar so our parents see what that is. And this was sent. If you did not receive it, please let us know so that we can get that to you. So that's correct. The 28th is a holiday, which is why I said the 29th is the first day. And I know that there was a letter that came from the chancellor to you today. So this is why I'm bringing up the calendar. The 28th is a holiday. The 29th is the first day, which is a C day. That is the first in-person learning. And I'm bringing up the calendar so I can show it to you rather than tell it to you so that you can see where we are.
Okay. Thank you to the parent. I was the one that actually made the mistake. I said 28th. El error fue mío, el día es el 29, el día 28 es un día de fiesta, este lunes día de fiesta, el primer día sería el 29. Y la señora Evans está subiendo el calendario para explicarles a ustedes, usando el calendario, qué día vendrá su hijo o hija a la escuela.
So, are you able to see my screen, Ms. Heredia?
We can see your screen, but the calendar's not up.
It's right here.
On the side there. Is it on the side?
I don't see your calendar. What I see
is... it's right in the corner there. It has to be enlarged.
I have it's in full screen on my screen right now. So that's why I'm asking.
There we go. Now we see it.
Okay. All right. So if you look at this calendar, you will see that the 16th, 17th, 18th was this past week, where we had remote orientation for students and their families. So this is what we have. Here is the change. So on the 21st, all students all day are in their remote schedule with their teachers. 3K and pre-K only, the A cohort will be in school for those kids who opted into in-person learning. So all of the other 3K and pre-K students will be at home doing remote learning all day with the rest of the school. The only ones coming to the building on the 21st are the 3K and pre-K students who opted into blended learning.
Okay, so este viene siendo el calendario. Como ven en el calendario del 16 al 18, que fue esta semana, fue la orientación que tuvimos para los estudiantes en los primeros 3 días de clase de orientación. La semana que viene, el 21, empiezan las clases por remoto para todos los grados, excepto para pre-kinder y pre-kinder. El grupo A va a venir el lunes y el miércoles, como ven en el calendario. Go ahead.
Thank you. So everybody is in school starting on Monday every day, just remote, except for 3K, pre-K, and they will go according to their group. So to Mr. Radius' point, Group A, Cohort A will come in on Monday the 21st and the 23rd. Cohort B will come in on Tuesday the 22nd and Thursday the 24th, and Cohort C will come in on the 25th Friday. Every single other grade will be on remote all day for their regular schedule. So I just want to be clear. Only 3K, pre-K throughout, but they're all not here every day. It's only according to your cohort and the people who opted into that option. I just want to be clear on that.
Okay. So, para clarificar otra vez, el día 21 y el 23, los niños nada más de pre-kinder y pre-kinder vienen a la escuela del grupo A. El grupo B de pre-kinder y pre-kinder viene el 22 y el 24. Y el día 25 nada más viene el grupo C. Pero todos los niños de kinder a quinto grado vienen todos los días por remoto nada más. Y las clases empiezan oficial para todo el mundo el día 21 por remoto. Nada más vienen los de pre-kinder y pre-kinder.
On the 28th, there is no school. It's a holiday.
El día 28 no hay clases, es un día festivo.
On the 29th, we pick up in week 2 with our regular schedule. That means every child, 3K to 5th grade, who has a blended cohort, that means they've chosen to come in on some days. The C cohort will come in that day. Everybody else will be in their remote setting, and then the schedule will pick back up the way it was originally intended. So the difference is that the first week, the 21st through the 25th, only 3K and pre-K blended students are in the building. Everybody else is remote. Starting on the 29th, because the 28th is a holiday, cohort C from 3K to 5th, who have chosen the blended model, will be in the building. Everyone else will be remote. And then the following day, the 30th, will be cohort A. And then it will continue to follow the schedule as it was originally sent.
Okay.
Good luck.
El lunes 28 es día de fiesta, es un día festivo, no viene nadie a la escuela. El 29 vienen todos los niños del grupo C nada más. Nada más los niños del grupo C vienen el 29. Todos los otros niños están por remoto, están virtual en la computadora cogiendo clase. Su hijo o hija nada más viene a la escuela si usted escogió que quiere que ellos estén en el grupo de que vienen a la escuela. Esos padres que escogieron que van virtual, los niños están virtual los 5 días de la semana. El 29 nada más viene el grupo C a la escuela, de pre-kinder hasta quinto grado el día 29. El día 30 viene el grupo A y el calendario sigue normal. La diferencia entre la primera semana de clase y de las otras semanas es que la primera semana nada más viene pre-kinder y pre-kinder. En las otras semanas ya empiezan todos los grados.
Okay, so right now I'm going to have Ms. Fleshman just talk about expectations. First of all, is there any question about this? Because this is so important. I just want to ensure that every parent understands what's happening with the changes that were made. Should any other changes be made, we will let you know. But right now, this is where we stand. So I just want to know if there are any questions for this particular thing. If not, we'll move on to the other things so that we can get you all the information you need.
¿Tienen alguna pregunta para clarificación sobre este tema? Si no, vamos a movernos al próximo tema.
I think she's asking whether we know if they're in remote learning or not. It was hard to hear the question.
Yeah, I'm not hearing.
Okay, so I put my kids in all remote learning, right? And I want to know, being that y'all doing the schedule A, B, C, I haven't got no notification on where they stand at with the remote learning. Is it all remote? Because that's what I wanted for my kids. Or is it blended? I don't know.
If you chose your child to be all remote, they're taking their classes all remote. So the cohort wouldn't apply to them at this time. They will be all 5 days on remote.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else? I'm not seeing you, so that's why I'm not, Can we go on then, Ms. Heredia? I'm not seeing you. I'm still sharing.
Yes, there's no questions on the chat as of yet.
Okay, so right now, if you have anything else about this, we will address it. But Ms. Fleshman is now going to talk to you very quickly about the what to expect now that school is in session, because that is going to look very different than what it looks like in the spring, expectations for students coming on this year. So Ms. Fleshman.
La señora Fleshman va a hablar de las expectativas de este año escolar, porque va a ser bien diferente en la escuela. So ella le va a hablar un poco de cómo la expectativa va a ser diferente este año.
So parents, families, we are working together to make this a wonderful year. It is not the way we want it to be, but we're going to show our children that we are up for the challenge of ensuring that they receive an excellent education. So with that in mind, some things are very important that we have to agree on. And one of them is attendance. And I want to read from a document that the superintendent gave us on the definition of attendance at this time. Because, in the spring, it was about interactions and sending in work and telephone calls. It's not that anymore. It's actually about real attendance. So this is what the definition is.
Okay,
oh, I'm sorry, dear.
I was like, before it becomes too much. La señora Fleshman está expresando que este año es bien diferente, estamos en una situación diferente, no es la misma situación que nos gustaría estar, pero la situación va a ser bien diferente. El año pasado, cuando empezamos a dar las clases virtuales, todo era sobre interacción, si su hijo interactuaba o no, le daban la asistencia, pero este año va a ser totalmente diferente. Ella va a leer una carta ahora de la superintendente y cuando ella termine de leer la carta, yo se la voy a resumir para ustedes.
So the definition of present is as follows. In person, those going into the building, student is physically present in the classroom, school learning environment for instruction during the school day. So that's not different. Being in the building, you're present, you're marked present. For remote, student is virtually present in a virtual learning environment for synchronous or live instruction during the scheduled school day. So it's expected at 8:45 that your children are online remotely, or they're at the door at the school for 3K and pre-K at 8:45.
Para coger asistencia este año, si su hijo está en el horario para venir a la escuela, tienen que estar en la escuela para nosotros marcarlos presente. En computadora ahora va a ser diferente. Para poder marcar a su hijo o hija presente, ellos tienen que participar en las actividades en vivo que la maestra va a tener. Lo que esperamos de los niños es que estén al frente de la computadora cuando la maestra vaya a dar la instrucción, o sea, algo pregrabado o en vivo de la maestra, que estén presentes en ese tiempo, no como lo hacíamos para el año pasado.
It is a little different for 3K and pre-K, according to the document. It says, please note that early childhood programs are required to limit screen time to 20 minutes per day, and much of the remote learning day should be spent on asynchronous activities, which means that the definition of present for remote learning should be modified for students in 3K and pre-K. So, for 3K and pre-K, participation in asynchronous activities can count as daily attendance.
Para los niños entre kinder y pre-kindergarten es un poco diferente. Como ellos no pueden pasar mucho tiempo al frente de la computadora, el límite es de 15 a 20 minutos. Para esos niños, si participan en las actividades por las maestras, dadas por las maestras, se le puede tomar asistencia como que estaban en la escuela ese día. Después que participen en las diferentes actividades, sea o virtual o por viniendo a la escuela, o si están, un ejemplo, completan una asignación que la maestra le dio y hay una forma de interacción, entonces se le puede marcar presente.
Excellent. And of course, you know, along with attendance comes punctuality. So being on time at the school building and being on time on screen are exceptionally important. So it's not just waking up whenever, it's school starts at 8:45.
La escuela empieza a las 8:45. Es importante que también sepan que con la asistencia también está la puntualidad. Es importante que los niños lleguen a la escuela igual que entren por computadora a sus clases a tiempo. La escuela empieza a las 8:45.
And we know that if a child were in school, they would have a certain work area. So they will have one in blended. So in the remote learning setting at home, you should set up an appropriate work area that is organized for school. So your child knows that when they're ready for school and the computer's turned on, they're sitting at their desk and they're ready with all their materials, sharpened pencils, and they're sitting up tall, ready to receive instruction.
Ok, sabemos que cuando los niños están en la escuela siempre se le tiene una área designada para que ellos aprendan y puedan hacer sus actividades. So, es importante que también en la casa hagamos una área que sea específica para aprendizaje, sea o vamos a poner en una esquina en su casa, que le arreglen un área que ellos tengan ya preparado para cuando es hora de empezar a aprender. Ya ellos saben que cuando están en esa área en particular es hora de clase, es hora de escuela, es hora de aprender, de estar enfocado en la clase.
Now, we have set aside certain days for parents and children to pick up materials from the school. Have you done that? If not, please contact the school because we have provided materials for students. The pencils, math materials, different things that you can use at home.
En la escuela hemos preparado paquetes para los padres para que tengan materiales en la escuela para que el aprendizaje pueda seguir. Si usted no ha recogido los materiales todavía, por favor llame a la escuela para que pueda organizar una hora con nosotros para poder venir a recoger esos materiales de su hijo o hija.
Now in District 8, we always talk about the mindset. So it's important to know that we're saying that this is not a usual situation, but it's becoming our normal situation. So we want a mindset that is positive. We're saying to ourselves and to our children and to our teachers that we're going to do this and do this well as a part of what we do at 138 and District 8. We're going to do this well. So our mindset is whatever you need, let us know. Whatever is not working, let us know, because remember, we're partners in ensuring that our children receive an excellent education.
En el distrito 8, que es el distrito donde está la escuela de nosotros, la meta de nosotros es hacer todo lo posible para que los niños de nosotros progresen académicamente. So, cualquier cosa que necesiten para ayudar con el aprendizaje de su hijo o hija, no tema en contactarnos, en que nosotros en todo lo que lo podamos ayudar, lo vamos a ayudar siempre. So, por favor, cualquier cosa que necesiten, cualquier material, cualquier información que necesiten, por favor, llamen a la escuela, pidan ayuda y nos dejen saber para nosotros asistirlos.
So, while we want you to help your child Okay, dear. Please mute. Thank you, Mother. We want them to become more independent. We know that you're there, but we want you to make sure you're allowing them to do the work, to actively listen to what's going on, and to participate at all time in the work. We're not lecturing at the exam. It's an interaction. It's a learning environment of teaching and learning. And with that learning becomes our expectation that your child will listen and participate and ask and answer questions.
La meta de nosotros es poder que los niños pongan independientemente, que puedan hacer sus trabajos por ellos mismos. Sabemos que como padres nosotros siempre queremos ayudarlo, pero es importante de que nosotros también los asistemos, de que ellos traten de hacer el trabajo solo. Sí vamos a estar ahí para asistirlos, pero queremos que ellos puedan hacerlo independientemente. Entonces, es importante que nosotros como padres trabajemos juntos para no hacer el trabajo para ellos, sino guiarlos en el camino correcto.
In our district, under the guidance of our superintendent, our principal always says we're going to be clearly transparent and give information to our parents and our families at all times. So to receive the information, we need to know that you're accessing our Twitter account, our Instagram account, our school website, that you have an email address that you provided to us so we can make sure we give you the latest information. And you see how information changes, and you want to know the information when it happens.
So, es bien importante, como la superintendente del distrito de nosotros le dice a la principal de la escuela, y nosotros también toditos seguimos por eso, que seamos transparentes, que todo lo que esté pasando en la escuela ustedes lo sepan. So, es importante que por favor nos sigan en nuestra página de Instagram, nuestra página de Twitter, el canal de YouTube, si cualquier cosa le hace falta que no la hayan podido ver, y que también nos sigan en la página de nosotros de la escuela. Tenemos una página de la escuela. Ahí pueden conseguir toda la información. Como ustedes ven, la información cambia de día a día, y la mejor manera de nosotros comunicarnos con ustedes es mandarle cosas por las redes sociales. También es importante que la escuela tenga un número de teléfono, igual que una dirección electrónica que ustedes usen a menudo, para que así cualquier información que nosotros recibamos, nosotros poder mandársela a ustedes.
So the last part I will say is submitting work. It's so important that you have evidence, and we have evidence of your child's progress. And so it's very important that you know how to submit work, and the teacher will inform you of how to do that. There are several ways to do that. So children, it's very important that you submit your work on time, and the teacher will give you feedback. And when the teacher gives you feedback, that means she writes what she thinks about what you did according to what the requirement was. It's very important that you say, Mommy, what is that comment? What did she say? And you find out what the next steps are, and you do the work, because the next steps will help you to improve.
Otra cosa que es súper importante, es importante que los niños, cuando terminen sus asignaciones, que le manden el trabajo a las maestras. La maestra le van a enseñar a esos que no saben cómo subir su trabajo y ponerlo en la plataforma, para que así la maestra pueda ver el trabajo. Después que la maestra ve el trabajo, la maestra le va a dar comentarios en algunas de las asignaciones de los niños, para que así ellos sepan cómo están haciendo en el momento. Porque es importante que los niños sepan, igual que ustedes, cómo están haciendo de día a día en la escuela con su trabajo y cómo están progresando.
So the last thing I want to say, parents, please have a notebook. I'm known for having my notebook, and I take good notes, and you must take good notes too, because we're in the 21st century, things are happening, and you want to make sure you document what is expected of your child and what you must do to make sure this is a positive, excellent experience for your family.
Lo último que la señora Flashman quiere compartir con ustedes, que es súper importante que ustedes mantengan una forma de documentar lo que es esperado de su hijo o hija, lo que esperamos que ellos aprendan. También lo que cuando ustedes mandan trabajo a la maestra, también cuando ustedes se lo mandan a la maestra, ustedes también tienen un récord. Así pueden decir, no, pero mi hijo hizo ese trabajo, no hizo ese trabajo. O cualquier cosa que haga en una reunión, así ustedes tienen sus notas de lo que se les dijo en la reunión. Entonces es importante que mantengan notas de lo que pasan en las reuniones, igual que en la clase.
Thank you.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Ms. Fleshman. And I just wanted to say, just to add to that, please remind your children as we get started in the remote setting that as they come on in the mornings prepared for learning at 8:45 where their attendance will be taken, that their cameras are on as well. So we are having school, and we are requiring that the children come on screen fully prepared to learn, and that we're able to see them and they see us so that we can do learning together.
También le queremos dejar saber que a las 8:45, cuando su hijo o hija entre por computadora, es importante de que mantengan su cámara prendida porque la maestra va a tomar asistencia y es un día normal de clase. Igual como que si estuvieran en la escuela y la maestra lo estuviera viendo, por la cámara la maestra va a poder tener comunicación con su hijo o hija.
All right, so I see a few questions in the chat that I just want to address to ensure that parents are getting the answers that they need. So in terms of the iPads, if you applied through the Department of Education, that is not something that the school necessarily has information about. That's done directly through the city. However, if you have applied, and I might have said this in prior town halls, if you have applied and you have not heard back, please ensure that you're checking your emails because they're sending the loan agreements there, and if you do not sign the loan agreement and send it back, chances are you're going to be waiting for that iPad. So check your spam and ensure that you get the loan agreement and that you sign it and send it back, because if that doesn't happen, then the iPad is not coming.
Okay, para empezar a responder algunas de las preguntas que tenemos, para esos que dicen que no han recibido la computadora y aplicaron ya para la computadora, si aplicaron para la computadora es importante que chequen su dirección electrónica, porque ellos por ahí demandan el consento. Si no recibimos ese papel firmado por ustedes, lo más seguro no le van a mandar ningún computadora. En la escuela nosotros en verdad no tenemos nada que ver con eso. Si ustedes aplicaron, la computadora viene de la ciudad, no viene de la escuela. So, es importante que estén pendientes a su email y que chequen el área a donde van las direcciones si no conocen de dónde vienen.
Someone asked about how early can they drop their child off at school? 8:45 a.m. No longer are they allowing children to come in early to congregate. They're not sitting together in a cafeteria and having breakfast. They're having grab-and-go breakfast, and they're taking them and going directly to class where they will have their morning meetings and have their breakfast in their school communities. So that is no longer an option, unfortunately, because we're not able to assemble in the fashions that we used to before the COVID situation.
Okay. Una mamá preguntó qué es lo más temprano que puede dejar a su hijo o hija en la escuela. Lo más temprano es a las 8:45. Todo ha cambiado. Para los niños comer desayuno, llegan a las 8:45, recogen su desayuno y se lo llevan con ellos para el salón de clase. Ya no es que pueden llegar a la escuela más temprano. Lo más temprano que van a abrir las puertas es a las 8:45.
Also, the mom who asked, I think it's Sohaili's mom, about whether she needs to take her laptop to school when she goes. It depends on your level of comfort. If she needs one in school, we'll do our very best to accommodate her with that. If you're not comfortable with her bringing yours, absolutely, while you're waiting for the one from the DOE.
Una mamá preguntó que si es esperado que su hija traiga la computadora a la escuela. Todo depende de lo cómodo que uno se siente. Si no se sienten cómodos dejando que ellos traigan la computadora a la casa, nosotros en la escuela trataremos de hacer lo más posible para poder acomodarlos y hasta que llegue la computadora que viene del Departamento de Educación.
I know some of you have asked us about additional aid in the summer, and we are attempting to order the devices. That's what we put in for, devices to come. However, we're putting in the order now, but we don't know how long those will take. So I just want to tell you that we are doing everything we can on our end to see if we can secure that. We also had some of our teachers go on to Donors Choose and to apply for devices. It's what we asked for, and some of their projects have been funded, but we're just having to wait at this point for them to come in. So in addition to all of what you're applying to the city, we are doing everything on our end to see if we can secure more devices, and we will do that as quickly. We're getting them out quickly. How quickly they come back to us, we're not necessarily sure, but I want to assure you that we're doing everything we can to ensure that all of the students at PS 138 have access to a device.
La meta de nosotros es tratar de que todos los niños tengan computadora. En la escuela nosotros estamos tratando lo más posible que podamos. La señora Evans recibió una beca para recibir más computadoras en la escuela. Estamos ordenando eso, tenemos que esperar que llegue. También damos pedidos a algunas maestras que apliquen para ver si pueden recibir tabletas o computadoras del programa Donors Choose. Algunas, mayorías han aplicado, algunas ya fueron aprobadas. Estamos esperando que esas computadoras y tabletas lleguen a la escuela y algunas todavía están esperando que sean aprobadas.
I also know that some of you have expressed that you're having difficulty with Wi-Fi. So we're also looking to buy hotspots at this time. We're waiting for some guidance on how we're able to do that. As soon as they give us the guidance from the Department of Education, we will invest in some of those so that those of you who are having trouble with Wi-Fi will be able to access that as well.
Sabemos que algunos papás también han hablado de que no tienen internet en la casa. Estamos buscando a ver si podemos comprar lo que se le dice hotspot, que viene siendo como internet portátil, y desde que podamos comprarlos y saber cómo poder ponerlos, entonces le vamos a poner para que todos tengan la información.
For those of you who have children who are fully remote or who have the blended model and are going to be remote on some days, there is still grab-and-go breakfast and lunch every day. We're going to send you the flyer that's going to give you the exact location for pickup for those. You can pick up breakfast and lunch at the same time, so you do not have to come back to get it. We're asking that the pickup time be between 8 and 8:30 so that the children can get back home in time to be in front of the screen for their classes to begin if they're fully remote. But there is breakfast and there is lunch pickup every single day at our school for every child, whether they're remote or blended throughout the year.
Para esos niños que están cogiendo clases virtuales o que no les toca venir a la escuela porque este no es el día de su grupo, todavía vamos a hacer entrega de desayuno y de almuerzo. Estamos tratando de que la hora de recoger sea de 8 a 8:30 para que así todavía lleguen a la casa en tiempo para sus clases. Desde que tengamos más información de eso, estamos poniendo un flyer junto para poder compartirlo con ustedes.
In terms of the supplies, I see a parent who said that they went to the school and they were not notified. I apologize for that. We last week sent out a blast with Ms. Jimenez. So if we do not have your current contact, please make sure that we do. We sent out a blast to all of our parents that we have their contact, telling them which days to come and which grades to come. But again, like Ms. Freshman said in the beginning, if you were not able to make it on that day, that is perfectly fine. We're still doing that now. So if you come into the school any day, anytime, we are prepared to hand those out to you.
Tenemos una mamá que preguntó de los materiales que ya no recibió la llamada. Si usted no recibió la llamada, está todo bien, todavía puede venir a la escuela, como mencionó la señora Flashman, todavía tiene tiempo de venir a la escuela y recogerlo. Es importante de que tengamos un número que esté trabajando en este momento en nuestro sistema de la escuela, porque la señora Jiménez mandó llamadas para cuando le tocaba el grado o a su hijo o a su hija para venir a recoger materiales. Si no lo tenemos, puede ser porque tengamos el número equivocado. So, por favor, si no recibió la llamada, trate de comunicarse con la señora Jiménez para que tengamos el número correcto.
So I see a question about missing 5th grade material. That was only for parents who came prior to 11:40 that day. So if you didn't come in on the day that we scheduled 5th grade and came after, you got everything you were supposed to. On the initial day that we were handing out 5th grade materials, if you came before 11:40, there was one booklet that was missing. But you can again come in anytime to pick that up if you feel like that's something that you don't have.
Tenemos una mamá que está preguntando que para los niños de 5º grado que le faltaba un libro. Eso es nada más para los niños que vinieron antes de las 11:40 en la mañana en el día que le tocaba para 5º grado. Faltaba un libro, pero si usted vino después de eso, ya recibió el paquete completo. Pero si se siente que le hace falta algo, puede pasar por la escuela para asegurarnos que tenga todo.
So let me just address the question about the Xerox copies of the math assignments. So this year, a lot of our, and as is the case with many schools because of the coronavirus and trying to limit the amount of materials that are passing back and forth, a lot of our instruction and a lot of our materials are digital. So you are not going to get a whole lot of things like you would have in the past. So what you received was, we decided to use Engage New York, which is very robust with the math and the priority standards that we're teaching this year. So we got those materials together from the DOE site to put them together for our 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. So that is a full, very, very rigorous math materials that you received, and that's all you got, because the reading books are going to be assigned digitally through Mayan, AZ Reading, because we don't want to have a lot of books passing back and forth. And if we hand out a lot of books, then they can't come back. They're going to be with you the entire time, because we're trying to limit the amount of materials that we're passing back and forth. And same will happen with all of your ELA materials. They are digital as well.
Para poder hablar del problema que algunos padres estaban hablando de las copias, la razón para eso es que estamos tratando de evitar de que los materiales vayan de la casa a la escuela y de la escuela a la casa, por lo que estamos pasando ahora mismo por el virus. Estamos tratando de eliminar la cantidad de materiales que van de la casa a la escuela. Mayoría de los programas que estamos usando son programas digitales, o en matemática estamos usando Engage New York, que tiene que ver con los standards que estamos usando este año para enseñanza, y lo mismo va a ser para lectura. Mayoría de las cosas van a ser virtuales y van a ser electrónicas, y muy pocas cosas de papel, para no pasar los papeles de uno al otro.
There was also a question about daily electronic health screenings. So the recommendation from the DOE and the guidance we received is that parents will check the temperatures of the children before they come into school. And then when they get into school, we're doing a random temperature check. So it's not every child getting checked every day. It may be, we're going to ask the parents, though, did you check the temperature and what the reading was, just so we can get a sense of, everything is okay with the children. And then we're going to randomly check children. So we could say, let's say today, every 3rd child, the next day, every 5th child. So it's going to be randomized assessing of students' temperature checks. We'll give them a little hand sanitizer to wash their hands. We have children's masks for the children who are able to handle that. And then they will take a grab-and-go breakfast and go directly to class.
Estaban preguntando sobre el chequeo de salud antes de entrar a la escuela. Para los niños, el Departamento de Educación dice que los padres o las madres van a chequear la temperatura de sus hijos antes de traerlo a la escuela. Y cuando lleguen a la escuela va a chequear temperaturas al azar. So, un ejemplo, el primer día puede ser cada 3er niño vamos a chequear temperatura. Al siguiente día puede ser cada 5º niño vamos a chequear temperatura. So, va a ser algo al azar, no va a ser todos los niños que chequeamos en la escuela, pero todos los padres tienen que chequear temperatura en la casa.
So I see some concerns here about children being not in the right class with different teachers. So I'm going to say this because as someone who taught for a long time, I know that even in person, children come to school. If everything were normal, we would check them in, they would be in a class, and then we would say, oh, this child was supposed to be in this room, and no, let's switch them around. So you can imagine that as we have a whole bunch of children, and what is happening that I want to be clear about with our families is that every day we're getting new children coming in and out, mostly out to remote. So for example, when we first started planning, we had about 100-something children who were remote. We planned for them to be remote and planned for all of the other children to be in school. All of a sudden, we went back in a few days later, and it was 200-something kids now remote, and this number of kids now coming to school. So we had to reshuffle those and put kids in different places. Then we went back 3 days later, and now 300 kids are in remote, and these are the numbers. So now we have to decide, well, we can't use these 3 teachers here because most of our kids are now here. We need to reshuffle them. Please also keep in mind that there are some teachers working from home and some teachers coming to the building. So depending on who's coming and who's staying at home at this point to give instruction, we're also having to adjust because that is also an ongoing thing. So I apologize if you've had a few mishaps. We really want to minimize that, but I want to let you know that we're juggling a lot, trying to figure out where kids are going and where they should be based on just the numbers that are coming in by the day. And that's as transparent as I can be with you, because I just want you to understand that this is not just a matter of saying now you're with this teacher, now you're not. It's really a matter of, and literally a matter of, today we went in and it was 350 almost kids now going remote. So now we had to reconfigure everything to adjust to who is in and who is out. So it's a constant moving thing, and I apologize for that. I think I mentioned that in prior town halls, because I just want you to understand that we are working very hard to ensure that every child is somewhere, but the numbers are falling rapidly, and as such, we have to make a lot of adjustments.
Okay. Para clarificar que algunos padres están diciendo que su hijo o hija lo más seguro está sentado en la clase equivocada. En un año escolar regular, esto es algo que pasa, que a veces los niños entran y después nos damos cuenta que tiene que estar en otro salón de clase. Ahora imagínense en virtual que todos los días está cambiando. Entonces, la señora Evans está expresando que cuando empezamos, nada más tenían como 100 niños que iban a ir virtual. Todos los otros niños iban a venir a la escuela. A la semana ella entra y chequea, ya estamos por 200 niños. A los 2 o 3 días vuelve y chequea, estamos por 300. So, todos los días está cambiando, y también hay que tomar en consideración que no todas las maestras están en la escuela. Algunas maestras están dando la clase de su casa y entonces algunas entran a la escuela. Ahora mismo la señora Evans estaba expresando que estamos en el número de 350 estudiantes tomando sus clases virtuales todo el tiempo. So, es algo que está cambiando todos los días, o todos los días ella entra y tienen que hacer arreglos de mover los niños de un salón a otro, porque hay que hacer la modificación dependiendo qué maestra tengamos en el edificio y qué maestra tengamos en su casa enseñando y dónde está el cupo.
So, Ms. Heredia, there's also some questions on here in Spanish, and I want to honor that as well. So if you could just check that out so that we can get to that, and I'll go on to the next one. In terms of the Google Meets, right now, everybody's trying to get on. This morning, we were in our meeting and we had a bunch of parents hop on our meeting, and the teacher had to reset the meeting. So again, please, just a little patience. It's the first. I think sometimes I remember just being a teacher and going out into the yard when we could all do that to meet our kids. And we would have lists upon lists, and people would say, no, that's your child. No, he's supposed to be here. No, this one is here. I know that's not the most comfortable, but in the beginning days of school, sometimes kids find that they're here, there, and then, but we are working together. I still have a crew of folk here with me working together to make sure we're putting kids in the right place. We're constantly taking kids out to put them somewhere else so we can fit the ones in that need to be in. So we just ask for your grace and your patience as we continue to fine tune this. We will get it done, I promise. Right now, though, it's really a work in progress, and I want to always be transparent with you because this is where we are at the moment.
Okay, usualmente en un año escolar, nosotros salimos a la yarda y tenemos la lista en la mano y podemos decir, este niño no es mío, es tuyo, y no lo pasamos de una maestra a otra, pero ahora estando virtual es un poco más difícil porque hay que completamente hacer el cambio por computadora. Ahora mismo la señora Evans tiene un grupo con ella en la oficina todavía haciendo cambios. Le pedimos que por favor sean un poco pacientes con nosotros y le damos las gracias por ser paciente también con nosotros. Catherine Campos' mom is asking, is the groups only by class or by letter? It's by letter, Group A, Group B, Group C. Para la señora Catherine, los grupos son por letras, son Grupo A, Grupo B y Grupo C. So, el 501 viene siendo en la clase que ella está, pero necesita saber en qué grupo ella está, sea el A, B o C. Heudi Sánchez, por favor, escriba su pregunta en el chat para poder respondérsela.
I saw another question about the Gifted and Talented program still available, and I want to say yes, and still work in progress again. And I think I mentioned this last time, I'll mention it again. The issue is that we have our hundreds classes, our leadership classes, as some of you know it, and we have the teachers who taught those classes. But again, some of those teachers are now teaching from home, and some of them are teaching from the school. Depending on where your child is, that does not present then the best scenario for those teachers to be there, which is why some of your children may not be with the teacher you originally thought, because that teacher may be teaching in school, but your child is remote. That teacher needs to be in front of the children who are sitting in the class, so someone else may be teaching them on that. So yes and no, we will revert to that when we get back to normal, but right now, based on the numbers and where people are in terms of remote or in person, that is not always feasible.
Una mamá preguntó sobre las clases que son las clases avanzadas. Como la señora Evans había comentado anterior, algunas maestras están dando clase en la escuela y algunas maestras dando clase en su casa. Si es una maestra que, por ejemplo, que usualmente es la que da esa clase y ella está en su casa y su hijo está en la escuela, es imposible de ponerla que ella de esa clase porque ella no está en la escuela para estar al frente de su hijo o hija, o viceversa. Si la maestra está en la escuela y su hijo está por remoto, necesitamos esa maestra que le dé clase a los niños que están en la escuela. Cuando todo vuelva a su normalidad, vamos a volver a tener esas clases, sí, pero por ahora no podemos tenerla.
So, for example, I just want to kind of extend on that a little bit. So, for example, I just want to be clear. In school, there can only be 9 students sitting in front of a teacher to practice social distancing. So you now realize that if there's only 9 students in a class with a teacher making the 10th person, the number of teachers we need is so much greater than what it would have been when we had 27 to 32 kids in a class. On the other hand, at home, the teachers can have their max amount of 32. So it presents a unique set of circumstances because we have to follow the social distancing guidelines, which unfortunately limits the number of children that can be in any place at one time in person.
Para poder darle un poquito más de claridad en esta situación, cuando están la maestra por computadora, la maestra puede tener de 27 a 32 estudiantes en el salón porque los niños están en la casa. Pero cuando estamos en la escuela, la maestra nada más puede tener 9 niños en el salón de clase con ella y la maestra viene siendo 10 gente en el salón para poder tener el espacio en la escuela que es necesario para poder mantenerlos todos saludables. So, imagínense en la escuela que ahora nada más podemos tener 9 niñas dentro del salón, cuando antes teníamos hasta 27.
67.
Christian Rodriguez mom asked, they put her child in group C, but she still wants her child to go on remote. She said she filled out the form, but for some reason, they're still not changing him to remote.
Okay, we're not changing him. Once the form is filled out, we get a report. That is not done through us. Again, a lot of the systems and the surveys and things that you're filling out for devices and so forth is directly from the city. What we receive at the school is a report that tells us what we need to do. So when I check that report every day, it tells me which children are remote. If your child's name is not on that report, I can't put them in remote unless what some parents have done is that they have just clipped a picture of the response that they received to say, yes, your child is fully remote, and sent it in the event that we don't get it. But it's not simply our decision. We get a report that tells us how many children have gone remote every day.
Okay. Para la mamá de Cristian que hizo la pregunta de que quiere que su hijo vaya a la escuela virtual, si usted quiere que su hijo vaya a la escuela virtual y llenó ya el formulario, una de las opciones es que le puede tomar una foto al recibo de que lo puso por remoto y nos los puede mandar para nosotros poder ponerlo, porque lo que nosotros recibimos es un reporte dejándonos saber qué niños aplicaron para ir virtual. No es algo que nosotros podemos hacer, eso viene del Departamento de Educación. So, si usted lo llenó y no hemos recibido nada, no puede mandar un recibo o lo puede volver a llenar, porque nosotros no tenemos la autorización de poder hacerlo nosotros.
And it's easier to go from blended to remote than it would be to go from remote to blended. So that will not pose a problem. Just shoot me an email and let me know. And if you have something that you can send me that shows your application, then that's fine.
I'm sorry, I was reading at the same time.
It's fine. I'm just saying that she can, if she going to remote is easier than coming back to the building. So if she has anything that she'd like to send me and request that because she has done the application, that's fine.
Si le quiere mandar la prueba a la principal de que usted lo llenó, se lo puede mandar porque es más fácil ir de blended a remoto que de remoto a blended. So, se lo puede mandar a ella para que ella sí lo pueda añadir a la lista. I'm sorry, I'm just reading this one in Spanish so I could tell you. Okay, so this parent has 2 children who are online remote. It's hard for her to be online with both of them at the same time. Is there any other way that she can have them go on at a different time?
So unfortunately, no, because it's school. However, what I would say is have the children show up to school and get on their devices and then go through the program that they're doing for the day. And then if she can work something out with the teacher, that's what I would do, because they still have to show up for school. So I would have them come on and just go through their day, and then any work that she can work out with the teacher to see, can I shoot this over to you a little bit later when I can help him? But I would say, please get on and just have them there, and then let them go through and get all of the notes and the information that they need so that they're not missing anything, and then work something out with the teacher. We're always trying to be flexible. It's just that we don't want him to not get credit for attendance, because we know that the attendance has now changed from interaction to attendance.
Okay, para la mamá que está haciendo la pregunta, que tiene 2 hijos y cómo poder ponerlo a los 2 en la computadora, o si se puede hacer un horario diferente. Es importante que los 2 entren a la clase a la misma vez, porque la asistencia ahora se toma de otra manera diferente. Lo puede poner y después se puede comunicar con la maestra a ver si pueden hacer una acomodación con usted. Porque ahora se toma la asistencia un poco diferente y es importante que los niños estén presentes a la hora de clase. Is there a way for teachers to make it a little more comfortable to be able to find the Meet link for parents?
Well, I know that typically the teachers are posting the Meet link when the children log into their Google Classroom. And then there is usually a code that is present there in case they can't immediately click on the link. So one of those options should work. If it doesn't, then they should let us know about that.
Okay.
Unless you have something else, Heredia, that you can add to that.
I'll share it with you.
Okay.
El link usualmente las maestras lo ponen en la página para enseñarle a los niños dónde tienen que entrar para la reunión virtual, pero si no, también puede subir en el calendario, pero también le voy a enseñar a la señora Evans otra manera que maybe puede que sea un poco más fácil, y así nada más le tienen que dar al botón y poder entrar directo. Ms. Evans, did you cover all the English questions, or?
No, I know there were a few more. Hold on. Random monthly COVID testing, we haven't received any further directives or guidance yet. We were told that those would be happening randomly, but we haven't heard anything new about that as of right now.
I see one about a parent that has two children, but only one device. We suggest that you apply for another device for your second child. Is that correct?
Is that a new child in our school? Because
I'm not sure. Hildy Sanchez? I'm not sure if she's still here with us. Okay, it seems like I'm not sure if it's a new child.
All right, I'll reach out.
This is the sibling.
Yes.
But it's not placed yet.
Okay. Is there
yes, you can still sign up your child for full-time remote learning. That was Ramo Singh. Her child is in group A, but she wants to switch to full remote.
What was that?
Ramo Singh, she's saying her child is in group A. Is there any way that she can switch to full remote?
She can't, yes. She could just do the survey. We have children switching up till yesterday. So yes, just go on to the DOE site and look for a school survey for learning preference, and you should be able to select full remote for your child. Absolutely.
Okay, is there any word on those children that are full-time remote, but their parents are working because they received the email from Learning Bridges, but right now it states that it's only for blended learning children?
And that's the guidance we've gotten as well, that the Bridges program is for the children who are in blended. They have given us no new guidance on for children who are fully remote.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
I'm sorry, I'm going through the questions quickly, but I know we're running short on time now. My concern is I do not want my child to be far behind because of the class she was placed in. My child was in the leadership class, I understand, and we can wait. Thank you for the update. My child is using my laptop. I am not comfortable with sending to school. I think we covered that already.
Yes.
To change the children from blended to remote, when is the time frame?
10/26 to 30th is the first window.
Okay. Para esos padres que tienen los niños.
Miss Fleshman, what was that?
Ms. Heredia said from blended to remote, but it's actually from remote to blended, right? That's as the
question is from when?
Remote to blending. I'm sorry, I apologize. Yes.
Yeah, remote to blended. The first window is 10/26 to 10/30, and then the school will give a decision by 11/9.
Okay. So, si su hijo está por clases virtuales todo el tiempo y quieren que vengan, empezar a venir a la escuela, el tiempo para llenar esa aplicación va a ser de octubre 26 a octubre 30. And then Joelle Cepera's mom asked, from blended to remote, you have to fill out the survey online if you would like your child to change from blended to remote, and you still have time to do that. I tried, okay, so for Diana's mom, you tried to fill out the form for the iPad. Yes, there is a PS138 in Brooklyn, so you have to make sure you put PS138X for Bronx.
Correct. There's a lot of PS138s, not just in the Bronx, all over in Brooklyn.
If my child has an IEP, would he still be in, they wrote 8-to-1 class?
There's no 8-to-1s at the community.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm like,
there's a 12-to-1.
Maybe they meant 12-to-1, but they did write 8-to-1. I'm guessing 12-to-1.
So whatever your child's recommended services is what they will receive. Some of those classes are bridges where there are two classes together. So I don't want anyone to misunderstand. The special education classes, typically the 12-to-1s and the 12-1-1s are bridge classes, which means you may have a 3rd, 4th grade bridge or 4th, 5th grade bridge or K1 bridge. So they are bridges, and this, for these special circumstances, they're also allowing us to bridge the ICT classes. So I know some parents reached out to me and said, why is my child in 1st grade? And I'm like, no, they're not in 1st grade. They're in a bridge class so that they can have their 2 teachers every day.
Para la mamá de Cristian, sí, todavía tiene tiempo de poner a su hijo que vaya a clases virtuales. Tiene que entrar por computadora y llenar el formulario. Diana, no, I'm sorry. One of the parents just informed us that it's not PS138X. They actually have to choose Samuel Randall PS138.
¿Puedo decir algo?
Claro.
Yo llené el formulario 2 veces y porque yo hablé con Miss Jiménez por email y me dijo que lo volviera a llenar, volví, lo llené. Lo que hice ahora fue que le mandé la respuesta a Miss Jiménez por correo. Ya ella la recibió y me respondió. Espero que con eso ya me puedan ayudar.
Sí,
la mamá de Cristian.
La situación es que las computadoras y eso no vienen de nosotros, viene del Departamento de Educación.
No, eso para el cambio de clase, para que se quede en la casa. Es la mamá de Cristian.
Ok, para el cambio de clase.
Sí.
Mándeselo a la señora Evans. Le voy a escribir la dirección de ella porque la señora Evans es la que tiene acceso a poder hacer ese cambio.
Ok, yo se lo mandé a Miss Jiménez.
Se lo estoy poniendo en el chat.
Ok.
NYC.gov. So I'm putting your email on the chat, Ms. Evans. She completed the survey. She said she completed it twice. She took a picture. She's going to forward it to you.
Yes, that's fine. That's fine. So again, I just wanted, this is like happening in real time, and I'm kind of glad it's happening so I can kind of build on this. So now this mom is saying that she has 2 children, is it?
I'm sorry?
Is it 2 children?
The one with 2 children, 1 device?
Christian's mom, is that 2 children or 1?
¿Usted tiene 2 niños o uno, la mamá de Cristian?
Un solo.
Only one.
Right. So now we have Christian, who was in a class, who's now going to be removed from that class and put in remote, which means that I'm now going to have to go in and look at the numbers and say, where can I place Christian so the teacher isn't over their amount? So I'm just using this example to show you how many moving parts there are daily. Not that it's a problem. We're going to program all of the children, but I'm just trying to give you in the moment example of how things can change moment by moment.
Ella usó a Cristian como un ejemplo a lo que ya estaba explicando temprano, de que las cosas cambian de minuto a minuto. No que es un problema ni nada, ella se lo va a poner desde que ella reciba la carta que usted le va a mandar, la foto, pero que ella quiere enseñarle a ustedes que las cosas cambian de día a día. So, por ejemplo, ahora ella tiene que coger a Cristian, que estaba en un salón de clase donde iba a ver a la maestra en persona, y ahora lo tiene que poner en una de las clases que por virtual. So, es nada más para que vean el ejemplo, no que es nada malo.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's Jace's mom or dad that's on this call that was asking about his teacher and being in the wrong class. So I just reached out to his actual teacher, who's going to send a new invite to him, and then that will be his place and finalized. So I just wanted to update Jace's parent that the teacher will be sending an invite to him today.
Okay, and then this is students would still be receiving their services, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and then our next question is, I had a question about the attendance and homework mandatory for orientation. I asked because my children were struggling with the DOE tablets on the first day of school, plus there was a mix-up of classes. What's going to happen with those days' attendance?
Also, but if they came to any class, they would have been marked present. It doesn't matter where they end up. So that's the beauty of coming. It doesn't matter where you end up. So I know some parents have some anxiety, but if your child was sitting in my class all day, even if they belonged in Miss Heredia's class, that child would have still been marked present with Miss Heredia, and then they would have come over to me at some point. So if they were in school, they were marked present no matter where they were. That will just go on the report that says they were sitting with Miss Heredia this whole day, but they were actually in school. So that will not impact their attendance at all. I'm not sure about homework mandatory for orientation. I'm not sure what that is. Okay. If the parent could unmute themselves, attendance and homework mandatory for orientation, I'm not sure what that is.
Chi-Chi, if you could let us know about the homework.
Yes. So I'm asking because I know for my son, he wasn't given any at all. Like there was, like, I spoke to his teacher. She was like, you know, there's no homework assignment for orientation. But then I spoke to my daughter's teacher, and she's saying, yes, attendance was mandatory, even though that there were issues with the internet connection at home, but also that homework was to be done as well. And online. So I was a little confused about that.
So orientation was meant to orient the kids to the school, welcoming them, talking to them, getting to know them, sharing about what they're going to be learning this year and so forth. So I'm not certain about what that homework is. If I will talk, you can email me and let me know, you know, what that was, who your child is with, so I can find out what exactly the ask was. But the intent was that these 3 days were to be spent getting to know the children, talking to them, getting to know families, talking to them a little bit about what the expectations are, what they will learn, what this year will look like, really catching up about how they've made it through this pandemic, how they're feeling. So that was the intent of the orientation. So if something else happened with you, please shoot me an email and let me know, and I'll look into that for you.
All right.
I think the teachers were asking for children to do different activities, to tell about themselves, you know, in different ways, filling out different surveys or writing something about themselves personally. So it wasn't like a mandatory thing that you were graded on or anything like that. It was just a sharing and writing, sharing and discussion in class about some of the experiences they have had, because we're focused on social emotional learning and getting to know the children and building relationships.
Got it.
All right, Ms. Evans, that covered all of your questions.
OT and speech start when the children start school. So whatever their mandated amounts of times are on their IEP, that's when those services will begin. Depending on whether the service providers are in school or remote, the child will receive services accordingly.
Okay. Para los niños que reciben servicios, empezarían el primer día de clase. Para los niños que reciben servicio, van a empezar a recibirlo ahí y las terapistas se van a comunicar con ustedes.
And just because I saw that last question about keeping a child in a class, so we have to also remember that many of these classes, special classes, have a number limit. So if those numbers are beyond the limits, we can't necessarily place kids there because there are limits. For example, if it's a 12 to 1 class, then we can't have 15 kids there. So I certainly will look at that, but I just wanted to make that clear so that, we're clear on where that stands.
Okay, para los salones de clase tienen límites, por ejemplo, si es una clase de 12 estudiantes, una maestra y un asistente, no podemos pasar de 12, no podemos tener 15 niños en ese salón, nada más podemos tener 12.
And then Mr. Burke, do you have 5 more minutes for Mr. Burke and then we're done?
Sure.
Okay, I'll try and make it as quick as possible. Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. What I'll do is I'll focus on the really important things like Monday, 3K and 3K coming in. You guys will not be coming into the main entrance. You will come in at door 8. Door 8 is the door closest to White Plains Road or furthest west from the main door. Go ahead, miss. I'll try and do notes.
Thank you. So, el lunes, cuando vengan los niños de pre-kinder y pre-kinder, no van a entrar por la puerta principal. Vienen entrando por la puerta número 8, que viene siendo la puerta más cercana a White Plains, que viene siendo la puerta que también queda al lado del parquecito. So, it's the door next to the playground.
All righty. Now, what we're going to do is please be patient with us. 9 a.m. is when you're coming in. You must be socially distant. You are going to get your temperature. All adults will get their temperatures taken. Children will have a random. And we were going to do it as quickly and as orderly as possible. But please make sure that you are socially distant.
La puerta para pre-kinder y pre-kinder viene abriendo a las 9 de la mañana. La temperatura para todos los adultos va a ser tomada, para los niños va a ser tomada al azar.
Pickup will be the same place at 1:55.
Para recogerlo a los niños va a ser en la misma puerta a las 1:55 de la tarde.
What I can also do is I'll tell you for the following week, kindergarten through 2nd grade will be at the main entrance at 8:45.
Up to second grade.
Please make socially distant, and everyone's got to be very patient.
And that's at 8:45, correct?
Correct.
Para los niños de kindergarten a segundo grado, para la siguiente semana, no esta semana, sino la siguiente semana, de kindergarten a segundo grado va a ser por la puerta principal a las 8:45 de la mañana.
3rd through 5th grade will be through exit 6. That's at the schoolyard where they've been lining up at the end of the day every year. But that's where we'll be coming in, starting the 28th. 29th. Thank you.
De tercero a quinto grado, empezando el día 29, la entrada para ello a las 8:45 va a ser por la yarda, por donde usualmente han entrado, por la yarda, por la parte de atrás de la escuela.
For the dismissal, pre-K and 3K know where they're going. Kindergarten will be dismissed through the auditorium, but no parents coming in the building. So they will line up outside. They will talk to the person standing at the door, and then you'll get the child and deliver them to them.
Ok. Para cuando los niños se van para la casa, pre-kinder y pre-kinder ya saben por qué puerta es. Kindergarten va a ser por la puerta del auditorio, pero los padres no entran a la escuela. Ustedes van a hablar con la persona que esté en la puerta y ellos buscan a su hijo o hija y se lo traen.
So they won't be coming to the main door. They'll be going to door number 2, which is close. It's on the east side of the building, closest to Odell, right? Well, yes. Furthest toward the light.
Okay. So esos papás cuando los de kindergarten no van a venir a la puerta principal, sino van a ir a la puerta del auditorio, que viene siendo la puerta que queda más cercana a la esquina de cruzar la calle.
Excellent. And first and second grade will be dismissed from the gym, but that will be door number 3.
Para primero y segundo grado va a ser por la puerta del gimnasio y viene siendo la misma regla, que los padres no entran a la escuela, sino se paran en una fila afuera. Por favor, mantengan distancia del uno al otro y le dejan saber a la persona en la puerta quién van a recoger y ellos le traen a su hijo o a su hija.
Okay. Remember, none of the parents will be coming in to pick up those children. We will deliver them to the door for you.
Acuérdense que ningún padre puede entrar a la escuela, sino le vamos a traer a su hijo o hija a la puerta.
Okay. Dismissal from K to 5 is at 2:15. Please make sure that you pick up the child on time. We have no room for them. We have to clean the building by the next day for the next group of kids.
Para los niños de kindergarten a quinto, la hora de salida de la escuela es a las 2:15 de la tarde. Es bien importante de que recojan a su hijo o hija a tiempo, porque tenemos que entonces empezar a limpiar la escuela para el grupo siguiente que viene al otro día.
I think I've got 2 minutes left before I'm going to get kicked off, but that's okay. I'm going to talk to you about the evacuation drills and the lockdowns. We're still doing all the safety measures that we normally do, but it's going to look a little bit different. Instead of the normal fire drill where the whole building will be dismissed at the same time, for the drills, we will do one floor at a time to make sure that there'll be social distancing.
Todavía tenemos que hacer las evacuaciones del edificio por si acaso hay una emergencia. Lo único que este año va a ser un poco más diferente. So, si tenemos un ejemplo, si tenemos un fire drill, va a ser por piso. El primer piso va a un tiempo, el segundo piso, el tercero, no vamos a salir todos del edificio a la misma vez.
And same thing with the lockdown drills and the shelter-in drills. They will be modified for the drill where the children will not be grouping together. They will still stay separated and socially distant.
Lo mismo para cuando tengamos los otros drills, va a ser diferente para que los niños no estén cercanos uno al otro, sino tenemos que modificarlos un poco.
Not only is the education of your children really, really important to us, but the safety is as well. We're going to do all of this by the book, as well as whatever procedures are coming down from the CDC, as well as the city and state. So please be assured that we are on top of it. Whatever changes we're doing right away, we'll notify you right away. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have an amazing weekend.
No solamente es importante la educación de su hijo o hija, sino también la salud de ellos. O vamos a seguir las reglas del CDC y del Departamento de Educación para poder asegurarnos de que todos estemos bien y saludables, y que disfruten su fin de semana y que tengan un buen día.
I guess the one other thing that I do have to say is just one thing that's going to be fluid throughout everything is please be patient. This is all brand new to everybody. So everything might not fit perfectly, but we will make the adjustments to make it work for us.
Also, one last thing. If your child has an Xbox, what is the other thing? PlayStation, they can get on through there. So that's the device is not the only thing. If there's one of those in your house, they can just remember that they can use those to get on to the platform. So please, if you have that in your house, there's another option.
Yes, PS4, PS5, Xbox, and Xbox One.
There you go.
And if you have a PS5, they could definitely get on.
I don't think they're out yet, but that's close.
They're coming out soon, but if you have it in your house, that's another option. And I say that just because I know that you can just about get on anything with everything.
One last question, because the parent said, would there be prep teachers online in addition to their regular teacher?
So let me talk about the prep teachers. We're working, Mr. Burke and I right now, trying very hard to try to get some PE built in. But again, every single teacher that we have in our school, and this was not always the case, every single one of them now has a class. Every single. So we're trying to really see if we can have our gym teacher who is on gym and movement and activity to all of our kids. And we're trying to schedule that. It's a little tight, but we're trying. But every teacher that was here and is here is being used. Pretty soon, if you come in and Mr. Burke and I and Ms. Fleshman are teaching a class, just know
that's what it's going to be.
Right.
And yes, we are aware that the PS4 and the Xbox do not have cameras. So if you are using one of those devices to log on to the Google Classroom and meet with your teacher, just send a note to your teacher on the chat and let her know, you know, right now I'm using my Xbox because I have not received my device yet, or I'm using my PS4 because I have not received my device. And that way they know that this is the reason why we can't see you, because we know you don't have a camera. Okay?
And they can also send that message through Class Dojo, just like a quick way to do it, so they know that this is my son, he's on his Xbox, we're waiting for a device, just so you know, and that's fine too.
Can I ask a couple questions real quick?
Of course.
All right. I'm Scotty and Jasmine father, and for me, like last school year was pretty tough to be in here because I have both of them in the living room. Now what I did, like put Scott on his bedroom, I'm gonna have Jasmine out here, but I can be with them at the same time together taking classes. And you know how the kids are; they don't put attention. They start to see around, you know, they get bored. You have to keep them reminded, put attention, do whatever you have to do. And also, the other thing is the homework. I have two kids. It's hard for me to be with both of them to make the homework, especially math. You know, math now is pretty tough for me. I don't gonna lie, because it's new stuff. I don't know that. And also, I saw like I had that happened last year. I saw like Jasmine teacher, she always put all the link on her calendar, but yeah, Scotty teacher, she always put it in different places, so it was hard always to find where he have to go. So I think like it's like a recommendation I'm giving you. Like it's better, it's easier if they always put the link in the calendar.
Yes. So thanks, Dad. And so a few things. Thank you for that suggestion. And we talked a lot this year so far about just streamlining across our school, making all of our classrooms look the same, making all of them have the same requirements so that parents with multiple children will be able to find the same thing. So that's what we are really trying to do now. If you go on many of our teachers' Google Classrooms, you'll see that their classrooms, the classroom layouts are pretty much the same. They have the content area, they have the dates. So we're really trying to streamline a lot of that. So thank you for that. In terms of the homework, we're really going to be doing some different things with the homework. What grades are your children, Dad?
Scotty is going to be in 4th grade and Jasmine is going to be in kindergarten.
Okay, so really this is going to work well for you, because one of the things that we're going to be looking into as a staff is just doing the age times 10 or your grade times 10 homework. So if a child is in 1st grade, 10 minutes, 2nd grade, 20 minutes. 3rd grade, 30 minutes, so that you can spend that 10 minutes doing your homework with your kindergartner and then have some time to do with the other child later. And in terms of time spending to split, remember, your kindergartner is going to spend significantly less time on the screen than your 4th grader will, because we have a limit. They gave us a guidance for the amount of time that we can keep the younger ones on screen every day. So it's going to be very much less for your kindergarten and a little bit more for your 4th grader. So you will see that, because we're also going to send that document to you, so you see how much time they recommend from September to January, and the time is going to look very different for both of your children.
And also I have another concern is about the writing, because right now they're doing everything in the tablet or in the computer, but they don't writing that much. They don't practice in their writing. How I can help them with that?
They're going to be doing writing in their notebooks this year. A lot of writing in the notebooks.
All right.
Believe me, we're going to work with you, Daddy. We want to get you there. We see that. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yes. That is
Can I say
And you can
something?
always have them write in their notebooks. And what we can do is take a picture of it and send it into the teacher that way. So that way, instead of typing it on the computer,
Exactly.
you can have it that way, and it'll work. So that way they get to practice that.
Like
as well.
right now, Scott is like a pro writing in the computer, but he's
Well,
not that
Scotty's
good
always been a
writing.
pro on the computer.
Yeah, but
Scotty's always
he needs help with the notebook. You know, that's why I'm concerned about it.
Gotcha.
I also have a child that's starting kindergarten. This is for the dad. One of the teachers mentioned today in orientation that kindergarten is going to be using pencils so that they won't lose the fact of handwriting, because this is the time where they're going to learn how to write words, sentences, and so forth. So maybe for the dad that's a little worried about the child not writing, it's coming, because they said that it's going to be more printing pages, and if they can't print out, they can just use the notebook in order to learn how to write their letters and stuff. So it's coming. Like depending each teacher, they're gonna have their curriculum so that they can help the child even if they're not in school. So it's just little, step by step.
Thanks, Mom.
All right. So the last thing I'm just touching on is I saw Liam's mom asked about the uniform, as Ms. Evans mentioned in a previous town hall, with times being the way that they are. If you do have the uniform at home and you want to put it on them, then great. If not, we're going to use what we have this year. So, we're not going to overextend ourselves.
I think the most important thing is that they get up, that they're dressed for school, that they understand that this is not laying in your bed and on the couch like you did in the spring, that it's serious. So if they wear a shirt and some pants, or if they wear a dress, or if they wear their uniform, as long as they're dressed, ready for school, and understand that this is learning time and this is serious business, because we have a lot of work to do and a lot of unfinished learning to catch up on from these couple of months. As long as that tone is set, then the rest is fine.
All right. So parents, thank you so much for joining us today. Hopefully we'll get to see you in our next town hall. If you know any of your neighbors or friends that missed today's town hall, please let them know to go check it out on our YouTube channel. Remember to follow us on Instagram, Twitter. Remember to download Class Dojo in your phone if you do not have it. Every single teacher in our building will be using Class Dojo for communication. And thank you guys.
And if the chancellor comes on tonight with something new, or the mayor, we'll have another town hall next week. I just want to make sure I'm always touching base with you so that we're all on the same page in terms of how we're taking the information we're being given and how it applies to PS 138. So thank you all so very much. Have a wonderful evening. Get some rest over the weekend. Monday is go time, and we'll see you then. If you have any concerns, please do not hesitate to email us, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you.
Ms. Evans or Ms. Heredia, how soon will you upload the town hall meeting? Because my internet got caught off and I missed a lot of the meeting.
I'll work on it in a few. Just give me a little bit of time to eat. I haven't ate yet.
Okay, no, that's fine. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye, guys.
Gracias, Miss Heredia. Buen fin de semana.
De nada, que la pase bien.